how do I use the control structure in Python? That is what we are going to learn in this video. Hi there, my name is Mukeshkala. I am a 4 times UiPath MVP certified solution architect and a LinkedIn top voice. Feel free to share me a connection request on the LinkedIn and I would be happy to be part of your network. In the previous videos of the playlist, we have already seen how I can download the Python, install the Python, why Python is important, and now we are covering all the basics in a step-by-step manner. So in case you are coming to this video for the first time and you do not have any setup of Python, feel free to watch the previous videos and get the setup ready. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the control structure in Python, why it is important and how as a Python developer I can utilize them. I would request you guys to please open the editor and follow along the steps which I am going, so that at the end you understand all the concepts clearly. I have also an assignment at the end of this tutorial so that you can go along and practice that assignment on your own, and that will give you more clarity on the subject, right? Having said that, let's get started. Okay, so let's get started by having a brief overview of the control structure. If I go by the definition, the control structures are the fundamental concepts in every programming language that determines the order of statement which the instruction has to execute. Now just think a scenario. You are writing a program and not every day you would like to have the execution linear, which means that not every day you would like to have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, right? Someday you would have a requirement where you do step 1, step 2, and now depending on the condition, either you can go to step number 3 or you can go to step number 4, right? So whenever you have such kind of requirement, we use something which is called control structure. So that's what the second point says. This enables the program to control the flow of the execution based on the condition, right? And some of the common control structures include else, if, else, if, loops, branching statement like break and continue, right? So in simple words, whenever I have to deviate the flow of the I would say the program, and where you do not want to run the automation in a linear way, we use something which is called the control structures. Okay, so why do we need it? As I already mentioned, conditional statement allow the program to make decisions, right? Based on the business requirement. As a developer, you have to make decision, right? Which part of the code should execute when, and that is where you require something which is called control structure. They are essential for creating dynamic and responsive program that can handle user inputs and various situations. By using the conditions, you can actually direct the program flow in a way which you require, and you can cater more of the complex requirement, right? So that's a brief overview that what exactly is the control structure. Okay, so now I want you guys to go back to the Python editor and just follow along with me, where we are going to do the first one, which is if. Okay, so I'll minimize this and I am back to my Python editor. I have just changed the theme to the light theme because when I was watching the previous video, I felt that dark theme is somewhere not pleasant to so much to eyes when you are watching the videos. It's okay to work on the dark theme, but when it comes to the video, I felt the white make more sense, right? Let me know your thoughts. So in case you also want to change the theme, all you have to do is just go to the file, and here you would have something which is called preferences, and here you have the theme, right? And then you can change the color theme as per your requirement. Okay, so now the first thing first, this is the old code which we done in the previous videos about the assignment and the operators. I'll close this. Then I will go here and I'll create a new Python file where today we are going to write the conditionals, right? So I'll create a new Python file, and I hope you guys are also following. So I would just write conditional.py. Why.py? Because we are writing the Python code, right? Okay, so the first conditional operator which I am going to discuss today is the if statement. So I'll go here and I just write hash, and that's a comment, and I'll say if statement, right? Now in simple words, if statement is a single condition. For example, I say if this condition is true, do this. If this condition is false, do that, right? And when you are writing the syntax and when you are writing the Python, basically you have to follow a syntax. So I'll just copy paste the syntax here first, and then we will try to write the condition, right? So to use the if statement, you have to use a if condition, then you have to put a condition, and then this is important, you have to put this colon mark, so that whatever you write after it, it is the code to execute the if statement. Okay, so this is the syntax for the if statement. You have to write if, then you have to put a condition, and then you put a colon, and then whatever you have to execute, you put it here, right? So to take an example, what I'm going to do is, let's say I am creating a school system, right? And where the people are going to score some numbers, and one candidate has a score. So first thing first, I'm going to create a variable. I hope you guys understand now what to use variable and how do you create it. So there is a guy who has a score of 85, right? Now the school has a criteria that if it is above, let's say 65, this guy is first division candidate, right? Now it is 85 and the criteria is 65. How do I check it? So I just write here if, the syntax, what exactly is the condition. Now what is the condition? If the score is greater than 65, then what do you want to do? I put a colon. What do you want to do if this condition is become true? So for now I say just print you are first division. That's it. So basically what we have done is we have created a variable which is score, assigned a value of 85. We say if the score is greater than 65, then print you are the first division. I'll save this and run this, right? And you can see here the output is coming, you are the first division. Now what happens if I go and change this to something else? Let's say 45 and run this. Now this time there is no output because we only told Python to print this statement when this condition is true, and now this condition is false. That is why you are getting no output, right? So that's how the if condition work. Very simple, straightforward activity. Okay, now sometimes you have more complex requirement like this one, right? Where we say that my condition is, let's define our condition. So this was the if statement. So now the principal of the school says that, okay, if the person is, let's say, greater than 65, it is a first division. But what about the people who are less than 65? We need to tell them, right, something. So I say that, okay, if it is not greater than 65, I want to tell them simply that, hey, you are the second division, right? So that means that I can have an if, and then I can have one more if, like this. If I can say, I'll just copy paste this complete thing, right? Copy and I'll just paste this, and then I say if the score is less than 65, then I say you are not the first division. So I'll go here and I'll simply say run the script, and you can see here it says that you are not a first division, right? So that works perfectly. What happens if tomorrow the principal says that, now Mukesh, I want to have a condition where I want to say that if it is less than 65 and greater than 50, I want to give it a second division, and if it's less than 45, I want to give it a third division, or if it is something else, I want to make it fail, right? Now every time you cannot write if statement, right? So basically we need something else, right? And that's why I'm going to introduce you to something which is called the else, right? So I'll just minimize this, and here this was the if statement, and now the next one which I'm going to introduce is something which is called else. I can say else if the score is greater than 65, well and good, you are the first division. But what if it is something else? So I can write a else if, right? But in Python, to write else if, you have to write like this. else if, E-L-I-F, else if. Now what is the condition? Else if the score, okay, is let's say less than 65 and, okay, score is greater than let's say 50, then what do you want to do? Then I want to print this. So I go here and I print this and say you are the second division, right? So the second conditional statement which we have learned is the else if, E-L-I-F, nothing but simply else if, right? Now if that is the case, you are the second division, so I can again copy this, paste it, and this time I can say that if it is let's say 50, score is less than 50 and score is greater than maybe 35 maybe, right? Then you are the third division. And lastly, if you are not falling in any of these criteria, you are simply fail, right? So then I can just write else, I can just print this like this, okay, and say you are fail, right? So basically what I have done, I have used a if statement, else if the condition, and if nothing is matching, go ahead and pass the false, right? Let's try to save this, and now the score is 45. So the 45 is between these, right, 50 and 35, so I should get the third division, right? So I'll go here and I'll say run the Python file, and it says that you are third division, right? Let's check it something else. I score let's say 10, I run this, it says you are fail. I go here and I'll pass something like 70, and then it says you are the first division, right? So that is how easy it was to create this type of program into Python, right? Now you might have a question, right? What happens if somebody got 65, right? So here it says if the score is greater than 65, you are first division, understood. If the score is less than 65 and greater than 50, you are second division, right? So this is the AND condition, to means that if you have to get a second division, you have to satisfy both the condition. But now 65 is not coming here, not coming here, not coming here, right? Let's try to see what happens. And it says you are failed. So that means that if you are getting 65 exactly, you are getting failed, right? That does not make sense. And the reason for that is, first, what would have happened in the program, right? That's how you are able to relate. The score was 65. The Python interpreter went and it checked, is the score greater than 65? No, right? 65 is not greater than 65. Condition skipped. Else if, is the score again greater than 50? Condition true, but it was not less than 65. This also failed, this failed, so it went to the last one. If I have to fix this, that means I have to handle these cases where it is exactly 65. So I can just go here and I put equal to. And now if I say that if you score exactly 65, then you are first division. So the point here is, whenever you are writing the if, else if, make sure that you handle such kind of cases, right? So for 50, anybody who scores 50, it's handled here. Anybody who scores 35 is handled here, right? And maybe I might have done some mistakes, but I hope you guys understood the concept. There would be some scenarios where less than equal to, you have to use less than equal to together and make sure that your conditions are working properly. Otherwise you will get a situation where the candidate has scored 65 and your program is saying that he is failed, right? So that is how the conditional statement works. If, else if, and else. And one more thing, if you only have two outcomes, right? Let's say true and false, right? Let's say you only have two things, one is pass or one is fail. You can always use if and else. You do not need the else if every time. What do I mean by that? Let me just comment everything. Okay, that's how you comment. I hope you guys remember from our previous sessions, right? How do you comment, right? So I commented everything, and now I just take this guy again. I say if the score is greater than 65, I'm just printing, right? I do not want to write it again. If the score is greater than 65, print you are pass, and if the score is less than 65, then print fail, right? So only two condition. You can always do it like this, else print you are fail, right? So anything which matches this condition is pass, anything if that do not matches this condition is fail, right? So let's go here and try to execute this, and this says you are fail because the score is exactly 65, right? So if I have to handle this, I'll again put equal to, run this, you are pass. But if I put anything lower than this, let's say 64, then you are fail, right? So if you have only two condition, you can use if and else, but if you have more bunch of them, you can use like this, if, else if, and then again and else. Okay, I hope you guys understood and you were able to follow along this tutorial till this point. If that is the case, just comment down, let's say if else, and I would understand that yes, you are able to follow along till this point. Okay, so that was about the normal conditions, but sometimes while you are writing the programs, you always have something which is called nested conditions. So what do I mean by nested conditions, right? So for example, I have a situation. Okay, so let's try to do that situation. So for that, I'll go to the Explorer and I'll create a new file, and I will call that as, let's say, nested condition.py. Okay, so what is nested condition? So let me minimize this, right? So nested condition means, let me just put a comments here. Okay, so today I am writing a program to check whether people are eligible to vote or not, right? So what would be the first criteria to check whether the people are eligible to vote? The first criteria would be that they should be a citizen of the country, or in our case, the citizen of India, right? So citizen of the country. And the second thing is their age should be greater than 18 or greater than equal to 18, right? I hope you understand this. Now, for example, if there is a guy who is greater than 18 but he is not a citizen, so then there is no point in checking both the condition together. First, I have to write a program where I say that if only he is citizen of the country, then only go and check the age, right? Otherwise there is no point in going and checking both the condition. Ideally both of them should be true, but I want to execute the age only when he is the citizen. If he is not a citizen, then there is no point in checking his age, right? He is anyways gone, right? So that's what is called nested condition. If the first condition is true, then only you go and check the inner condition. If this fails, no need to go and do any of this, right? So how do you write such condition? That is called the nested conditions, right? So to write that, I hope you got the concepts. So I'll create two variables. I'll say maybe something like is citizen, which is a boolean, and I'll say true, which means that yes, he is a citizen, right? And then I will create something which is called age, and I'll age say 24. So this is the current situation, right? I am getting the citizen and I am getting the age. Now first I want to check whether he is the citizen or not. So I'll go here and I write if, right? And then I say is citizen intelligence equal to true. If he is the citizen, then you go and check one more condition, which is if age is greater than 18. So two condition, right? If he is a citizen and if the age greater than 18, then you say that print eligible to vote, right? So here I am getting an error. Okay, it says that variable age citizen is already true, so you don't need to check the variable like this, it will automatically check, right? One more feature of Python. So I'll just remove this and I say if is citizen, which means that if this condition is true, this condition is true, then only it will say eligible to vote, right? And if I want to write again else if and else, all of that you can do, right? So I'll just save this and I'll say execute, and you can see here it says eligible to vote because the age was greater than 18 and it was 24, right? But if I say this guy is not a citizen, I say that is citizen is equal to false and age is still 24. Now if I go and run this, you are not getting anything, right? Because there is no else condition. Now I want to show you something interesting, right? So for example, this is a program where we want to give some output to the user. So as of now it was false, it was 24, I did not get any output from the program, right? But let's say the person or the individual wants to know that why I was not eligible for the vote. So I can write this nested condition, and for this, right, if I say age is greater than 18, you are eligible to vote, I can directly write an else statement here, that if this condition was not true, this one, right, this if else, then I say you are less than 18 year of age. Okay, so only for this condition I have written that thing, that in case you are getting that age, then you get this, right? So now if I just go here and I say citizen equal to true and the age is 14, okay, citizen true, this condition true, but this is false. So let's go and say run. You say you are less than 18 year of age, but if I go here and make the citizen itself to false, so that he is not a citizen at all, right, then it will not go inside all of this and I do not get any output, right? Because as we have decided, first of all, to give the vote you need to be a citizen, right? So the citizen was false, that's why it did not went inside this loop, and this is nothing but your same if else which we discussed in the previous tutorials, right? So if a citizen was this, then it became like this, right? Now I want to give the user a meaningful message, right? So I can write an else here, and then I say if the citizen one was false, right? You can see this line, this is for that. I can say that you are not a citizen. So now this time the person will directly get a message that you are not a citizen, that's why we are not even checking your age. So I'll go here and I'll say run and say that you are not a citizen. Now if I got someone who is a citizen, true, okay, I'll just do it like this. Okay, now I got somebody who is a citizen and the age is 14, so it will go inside this loop and then it will check if the age is false, then it will give this message, right? So let's run it. You are saying less than 18, but now if I give somebody who is greater than age and a citizen, eligible to vote, right? So that's how you can write the nested conditions in Python. Okay, I hope this was clear. Any more questions, any more doubts, let me know in the comments. Okay, so we discussed the if, else if and the else, right? And this is the same thing which we have done in the demo as well. Okay, next we discuss something which is called the nesting condition, that how you can nest the condition, and this was exactly the same example which I was doing. Okay, now there are some of the best practices which you should follow when you are writing the conditional statement, which means that keep the condition simple and readable, avoid deep nesting. If, then if, then if, then if, then if, right? Avoid using the deep level of nesting. 1, 2, 3 is fine, but not more than that. Otherwise it become for you difficult for you to maintain the program, right? So avoid deep nesting. Use meaningful variable names like score, age, first name, last name. That's exactly the same thing. Comment your code for clarity. Whenever you are writing condition, make sure you put proper brackets at the top, right? So that you understand that why I have written this comments. And these are some of the best practices which you should follow whenever you are writing a conditional statements, right? So before I wrap up this video, I have a quick assignment for you guys, which I want you guys to try it yourself. So you have to write a Python program that checks the temperature and print the appropriate message. So the condition is, if the temperature is above 30, you have to print it's hot. If the temperature is between 20 and 30, you have to print it's warm. If the temperature is between 10 to 20, say it's cool. And if the temperature is below 10, say it's cold, right? So this is a simple Python program which you guys have to do, and if you are able to completely do it and able to get the result, let me know in the comments, right, whether you are able to do this or not, right? This is exactly the same thing we have used in this tutorial, so I believe you should be able to do this assignment. Okay, I'll wait for your comment on this thing and the overall feedback of this video, right? So with this, I would like to wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. Any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well, right? So wrapping this video here, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video of the Python series.